Hello, everyone, and welcome to this exciting day where we celebrate all things grounding by Sarah M. Blake. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, good morning.
Isn't it fun? We have been on an adventure with this book for what, a year, 2 years now? And it
Yeah.
all started with us going to a castle and you writing very deep, beautiful poetry.
Yeah, I was just thinking this morning that it's been quite an epic journey, and COVID in the middle of it all, it sort of has delayed it, and I feel really like I'm finally launching this book. But it's been an adventure. It's been it's taken me in places I didn't think I would go.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You didn't anticipate ever writing a poetry book, but I adore that, you work in the area of conflict resolution and you have to go deep for
Yeah.
that. And you also have to go very deep for poetry. So you know how to get into that space, you're comfortable in that space, and then deliver these beautiful poems out of that.
Yeah, look, I never expect. I've been writing since I can remember. I think I had my first poem published when I was in about year 3 or 4 in primary school. My mum reminded me recently. So I've always been writing, but it's always been for me. It's not been something that I wrote to share with anyone. So it's been quite a vulnerable process pulling them together and giving them out to the world because it's showing something of me that I usually keep really private. But you are right too. I think to do the work that I do, particularly in the high conflict spaces, you have to be so attuned to layers and depth of communication and self-awareness and emotional intelligence. And I think for me, that connection comes through listening to myself, and writing helps me do that. And often it's sitting down under a tree in the bush, my meditation, really, that's what it is about.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. You're inviting people, and you're making it visible and inviting people into that space where it is safe, but also vulnerable, where you are allowed to be that you have permission. And through your words, because they just draw us in and elevate us into that, it's just there's something special that happens and you're exposing a wider community to that. One that maybe, isn't affair with poetry as such, but because of the subject matter and how you deliver it, it just works, doesn't it,
Yeah,
Sarah?
I do. I was saying to someone recently, I don't consider myself some technical poet at all. I'm just telling stories, and I'm telling stories that have meaning to me, and there's a rhythm to it. And I think perhaps part of that too is the mediation work. In process design, you've got to be attuned to where people are at in the room and the rhythm of the communication and the language. And I think perhaps that's how it's translated across to my poetry. It's just the stories that I tell when I do the work. So my greatest hope is that in amongst this book, people can find a poem or a story that just resonates with them at a time. And so it's not technical, it's just my experiences. And I hope that it gives voice to a new insight into the business of conflict resolution and into the complex task of working cross culturally and working together to find solutions.
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes to all of that. And that's the thing is you have shown up and you have shown how it done. That's the leader in you is that you show up and yes, be vulnerable as in sharing your work, as in writing these poems, but doing it with such confidence. And that's what that is about is yes, showing up, being vulnerable, feeling the feels, but to show up with confidence and deliver. Is that not what it's all about, sir?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's nothing in me that I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. This is just me on a plate. This is just my experiences, and I'm really okay with that. I'm not trying to impress anybody or prove anything or show anything apart from let's have a story and let's sit down and talk. And I think perhaps that comes from my deep sense of connection, my spirituality, my connection with country, my awareness of the foundations that hold me strong. And this book captures those moments of my foundations, the moments that help me stay strong through some of the most confronting and difficult conflict work that you can do.
Yeah, and absolutely, and it invites us to have a conversation with self, and that's often where the basis of resolution starts, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. And I
Absolutely.
think too that it's an invitation to feel the discomfort, because conflict is messy. And I was thinking this morning too that too often we're looking for those perfect moments. You know, we all want to feel good all the time and have those Instagram worthy photos. The thing with change, with conflict, is it feels messy. And I'm hoping these poems can help people by my sharing my vulnerability, and by sharing that, you know, sometimes it's really hard for me, and sometimes it's messy, and sometimes I do it wrong, but it's okay. If I can share that with other people, to give them some hope that they can navigate their way through to the other side.
Absolutely. I have to admit that those times are are not so many, but that that you show up and share. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
that's the leadership, is being inspired leader by showing the way to that and opening up that. That's wonderful. Sarah, could you read for us?
Of course, I can read for you. Let me pick out. Look, I'm going to have to go with my favourite poem in this book, and I was waiting and waiting till I shared my favourite poem. This one I wrote in Northern Ireland, and I'll unpack it for you once I've read it. The poem's called "O Greenland Bequest." The heartbreak, the troubles, the pain of generational grief, of land crying out to be heard, of leadership, where hearts connect to the soul arise, to enhance responsibility, to hold, to heal, to create. Look with grace for a people whose fear is just beneath the surface, silent, held in check, waits bated breath, inhales of fragile hope, of possibility, of collaboration, courage to stand against, defends of self, be this land whole.
So eloquently shared, I have to admit. So beautiful. And that one pulls at my heart, because you wrote that where I come from, my
Yeah.
homeland. And so I absolutely get all of that. So if you want to unpack it for us, go ahead, Sarah.
Look, it's funny, that poem gives me goosebumps every time I read it. I wrote it sitting in the castle overlooking the green countryside. And I feel quite emotional sharing it, actually. And I think it's because it speaks to collective grief, and it speaks to collective conflict and the cost of that. And in the work that I do in a lot of Aboriginal communities, they're dealing with intergenerational conflict, with dispossession of land, of disrespect shown towards their law and their culture, of search for identity and acceptance in our greater society. I way back in my history too, I have roots to Ireland and Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And family migrated out to Australia, in some part due to the experiences of conflict and famine and devastation. And so these stories of deep, complex conflict has woven its way through my experiences. And I know that the pain and the scars that we all carry are often very deep, and that we aren't aware of them, and that whether we are aware of it or not, often they're intergenerational.
Mm-hmm.
And the process of finding hope through the other side is a fragile thing. And as peacemakers, we have huge responsibility to help people through that. But it's a responsibility to take seriously because it is so fragile. And we only get to the other side through the process of hope, of working with, of collaboration with others, and finding our courage to stand tall. And each of us individually, it's that collective capacity to dig our feet into the sand or into the dirt and the soil, and connect with country and hold strong in those places. And so for me, this was a connection with Ireland because of that, and a connection with the long impact of conflict, but the possibilities beyond.
That's it, and finding your way back to peace, isn't it? And
Yeah,
whenever all parties involved have the same objective, it's amazing
yeah,
what happens when it's managed beautifully. And you
yeah,
absolutely eloquently put it down there in words, and I just adore that poem. I really and truly do.
yeah.
There's another one that I wanted you to read. It's only a short one, I promise,
Yes.
but it's called Beyond the Fear. And I just think that because, I love all of the poems in this collection. And I have to give a shout out to Jennifer Dinsdale, who took images, and a lot of them are your images, but took images. Oh yeah, share them, share please. They're awesome. That's Beyond the Fear. Like, and it's just so beautifully laid out. It's just gorgeous. This book, it's just such a keepsake, such a gift, such a treasure to have
Yeah.
and to just delve into. When you've got those things you need, it just surges something in you. It's just beautiful. But yeah, Beyond the Fear, can you read the poem and then share with us the depths of it?
I can do that. Beyond the fear. Feel the fear. Lean in. Listen deeply. Help me understand so that I can discover, so that I can plan, so that I can evolve into something new, something strong, something calm, something beyond.
Yes, yes, and it is fear that holds so many people back, and that's why I asked you
Mm.
to read that one, because let's chat about fear, just to and the depths of that poem. Could you?
I would absolutely love to. So, fear's been this theme, I think, that's been with me for probably probably all my life, to be honest. But I've been consciously delving into it since about probably 16 years ago, when I was doing Mao Rom, which is a cross cultural leadership and peacemaking project in Arnhem Land. And I really wanted to really understand the barriers that were holding me back, and to discover that this fear was so powerful in my own life and it was stopping me progressing. And so I wanted to take this journey around, how can I understand this thing? How can I understand it so I can help others navigate better through their times of conflict and confusion? And so fear plays a huge role in stopping us listening,
Yeah.
in stopping us communicating with each other, it holds us back from stepping up and stepping into. So it's really easy to cloak our fear as control and trying to control others around us, or the environment around us, or the conversation around us. It can play out through power and having power over others, to get them to do what we want. But underneath the layers, so often it's about people being fearful, and fearful of losing control, or fearful that people might discover they might not know everything they claim to know, or fearful that I don't have the answer. I don't know what to do now. But if I let people know that, it's not going to end well. So the fear manifests itself so differently from each of us. And it's important to know, I think, to name that fear. I don't want to get rid of the fear. The fear is like a survival instinct. It's been with us since we brought our consciousness to it. It's a chemical and a biological warning sign that something's not quite right here, but we've stopped listening to it and we've been driven by panic and control. And so I want people to listen to that fear. Don't let it hold you back. Name it, give it voice. And from that, you can discover your opportunities, or discover your pathway forward.
Mhm. Isn't it? Amen to that. Because I always talk about honoring the fear. We
Yeah.
all have fears in us, but when we get to know ourselves and where we're going, and honor that, honor the fears that come, and say, I understand where you're coming from, but to breathe before you react,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes,
feel the fear and then probably do it anyway would be my
that's
terms.
right. Yeah.
In a positive, beautiful way. But that's the thing, and I just adore, the conversation that poem ignites.
Yes.
Like to listen to you talk about that, and those few words. What there's like 10 short lines there,
Yeah.
create that conversation around fear, and like anger stems from fear. All
Yes.
of these. but fear is a it's a natural instinct that
Yeah,
we have to protect us,
that's right.
but it's
Yeah,
not designed to hold us back. It's
yeah,
designed to make us stop and think before
that's
we
right.
move forward.
It's not designed to control us. I think that people let themselves be controlled by the fear, and instead it's there as an alert, a flag saying there's something to be critical of or to think about and consider here. So listen to the fear. Don't be controlled by the fear.
Oh, couldn't we just listen to Sarah all day? I swear. Really and truly, I could just listen to you talk about this all day because, conflict is not an arena that many people dare and fearlessly go into.
Yeah.
But you do it so well, Sarah. I must commend you on that. You just do it so beautifully. And through conflict comes resolution whenever you approach it from that. So I commend you on that. So let's talk about where this book is available, where the ebook is available. I cover ebook, you cover print. So ebook is circulating today. It's live. So we want everyone to grab an ebook on Kindle if you can. If you're in the US, the UK, Australia, anywhere in the world, it's on Amazon. We have shared the link on KMD Books LinkedIn page, Facebook page, and Instagram with a nice graphic. And Sarah will share it into the event page today. So grab your copy and let's get Sarah to #1 bestseller today. And Sarah, do you want to share where everyone can buy a beautiful, beautiful printed copy?
Just jump onto KMD Books website itself to order a hard copy. Now, I'm kind of biased because this is my book, but it makes a really great coffee table on your office book because it is beautiful. And I just want to thank a couple of people particularly. One is Jen, who I'll be interviewing later today. And Jen's layout and design, the way she's brought to life the photos, she's just done an amazing job. So big thanks to Jen. And the other one is the photos are a collection of photos that I've taken, but also the talented Matt Gribben. Matt Gribben and I grew up together and spent a lot of time in Coffins Bay, Dutton Bay, and Coles Beach on the west coast of South Australia. And Matt's gone on to do a lot of photography in his later years as we've all got older. And he's just so talented. And what I love about his photography is he's taking photos of the places that I grew up. This is my home. This is my home base. So I'm so proud to feature Matt in these books and jump on to follow both Jen and Matt online through Facebook. The links will be shared a little bit later, and I'm going to have a few words probably from Matt a bit later, but really big shout out to Matt and Jen.
Oh, beautiful. It is a collaboration. Absolutely. It's just
Yeah.
a beautiful spectacle and an amazing corporate gift. I have
Yes.
to say,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And, to have even in the office for, on the, you know, just to read through and flick through. It's just beautiful. And it won't take up everybody's day to get straight to the point.
Yes.
But Sarah, thank you so much for chatting with me today. And I just want grounding to go everywhere because it just brings this natural beauty into the lives of everyone who embraces it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for interviewing me and guiding me through the process of helping deliver this to the world. So it's been an absolute joy, and I'm really the stories from people who've read the poems are so moving to me, and it's a bonus that I could never expected. So thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. The book is coming to be as a journey in itself. There's always a story behind every book. So maybe we'll share that again sometime. But thank you so much for joining me. And thank you everyone for watching online. And please comment below wherever you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever it is. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.